For those of us who are here for the first time, a good evening and a very warm welcome to the viewers from all over the world. The CEO's Chair is a unique program where we showcase inspiring stories of successful CEOs and founders. We give you an insight into their mindset and discuss not only their challenges, but also help you understand their definitions of success and leadership. We are actually in our 4th season, and this is our 41st episode. And we have another such inspiring story today, Jatin Malwal, co-founder and CTO at Lendbox. So Jatin, it's very exciting to have you on the show with us. While a lot of the attendees and the audience members, as I'm sure, probably already know you, but I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to, just a few points to introduce you two as well. So I know that you started your career with Snapdeal, Jatin, and you've since been involved over the past 9 years in various startups in helping them with technology and product development. You were featured in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia edition for 2017. And you've also selected as one of 25 entrepreneurs from emerging countries for the very exclusive Vegetable Young Founders Program in 2018. So congratulations to all your success and the success of Lendbox, Jatin.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Jatin, if you could just very briefly tell me, where did you grow up or where did you do the majority of your schooling and college from?
So I grew up in Ghaziabad itself. There is a small town called Muradnagar. It is famous because there is an ordnance factory there. So I did my schooling from government school itself, as my dad was a government employee. And I also did my college from Ghaziabad itself. It's a technical university there. So my schooling and my college both were from Ghaziabad itself.
And then you started your professional career with Snapdeal, if I'm correct.
No, there is a little mistake there. Actually, I started my career with a startup. So when I was in last year of my college, I started working with them as an intern. And after that, I joined Snapdeal.
So you spent about 2 or 3 years in Snapdeal, if I'm correct?
No, only 1 year.
Only 1 year.
I spent 1 year with the startup and 1 year with the Snapdeal. And then I started working on my own venture.
So we are in August of 2014 and Jatin is working at Snapdeal. And at the same time, he's also working on his own startup called Play Selfie, if that is correct.
Yes.
So what was the thought process during that time? Is it that you always wanted to do something of your own, or you wanted to try and experiment and see what's out there? What was the thought process?
Actually, when I joined my college, so I just wanted to, work with a big tech company like Google or Amazon. And it got changed during those 4 years of my college life. And when I was in last year, I got this opportunity to work with a startup as an intern. So I took an NOC from my college and I started working with that startup itself. And in that startup, my mindset actually got changed. So, I started loving that culture and I got to know that this is something I want to do in my life. And when I graduated, so I had these 2 job offers. One is from an MNC, like offices in India, Canada, US, and one is from the same startup. And even though the salary was less, but I was pretty sure that, I want to work with this. And so I got that attitude from that startup. So I'm very thankful to those founders and that startup in my career.
So Jatin, just to take it back a couple of years as well, I'm sure it wasn't very easy. Was it a very easy decision for you? Did you face some sort of resistance from your family saying that why are you giving up a much more stable job with a well-recognized brand name versus a startup which may or may not be around for too many years?
Yes. That is always with Indian parents. When you go to them and you are like, I want to quit my job. And they are shocked that why are you doing it? But in that case, my mother always, supported me. So to this, I must say that dream big vision, I learned from her. So I always, look up to her to get that never settle attitude. So after that startup, I got to know that I want to start my own venture. And I joined Snapdeal for a specific reason. Because Snapdeal at time was growing exponentially. So I wanted to learn, what they are doing differently and what is the culture there. And as soon as I joined Snapdeal, I started working on my product itself. And when I was confident, I just left my job there.
And how long did your first startup, or did you work on your first startup? I believe it was called Play Selfie.
Yes, it was a Play Selfie, and it was very cool product, like a social media network for selfies. So we worked on it for like, let's say 12 months overall.
Okay. And was it just you, or did you have some co-founders
Yes,
there as well?
we were two co-founders.
Okay.
We were colleagues from our previous startup.
Okay.
So, and then we started this together.
So you already knew each other a little bit.
Yes, we were kind of became friends because he was into marketing and I was into tech. So and that startup was, had that culture to, that you always get that entrepreneurship attitude from there. So we were always in touch, and then he got this idea and he reached me out, and we both got excited about it, and then we started working on it.
Okay. And at what stage was your team after 12 months, or what was the traction like?
We were 4 people only, because during Snapdeal, I started working on that, and he left his job, and I started building the product. Sure. And when the product was mature, we got good traction. We got also got selected in one of the best accelerator in India. And I also came full time, and we were 4 or 5 people, and 2 were part time also. So let's say 6 people we were there.
And was it completely your own funding, or did you have to get outside funding for that?
No, initially it was like our own capital, and I have also got savings from Snapdeal, and then we got selected in accelerator, so we got some funds from there.
Understood. So unfortunately, you had to shut down the startup, I believe, after 12 months, which I think for any founder or any entrepreneur is not a very easy decision to make. Now that you look back and you have had a lot more experience now, almost 5 years in your current startup, and which has been extremely successful, and you've also got external funding for it as well. If you had to name, let's say, 1 or 2 lessons or 1 or 2 key takeaways that you had from your first startup, what would they be?
I think first would be that you should have a compatibility as a team, and especially between co-founders. So we got good traction. We had a very good product, right? In 2014, we were working on live filters, and even Facebook, Instagram launched that in 2016, right? So we had this great potential. We got selected in a good accelerator, but we were lacking as a team, right? So the main reason for that was trust. So initially, when we started working together, we didn't clear lots of terms, and that was the main reason of that, misunderstanding and trust issues. And it's not a company in the end. It's always a relationship, you can say. So it's a relationship with your co-founders, with your investors, with your teammates. So if trust is not there, so it's like you won't be happy, right, in the end, because there will be a constant doubt about it. And when you are not happy, no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to do justice with your work and with yourself also. So I feel that was the reason I left Play Selfie, because that trust was broken.
Okay. And what else, like you said, you actually already had an innovative product. People were wanting to try it, and there was a demand for it in the market as well. Is there anything else now that you look back that you would have wanted to do differently at this stage?
I guess I just want to, have that discussion early on when we started that startup together, that, what will be the terms. And because when you are working with your friends and family and relatives, you have this, feelings that, we should not discuss this thing.
Almost like an unsaid understanding, or it's an uncomfortable conversation to have.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable conversation. So people avoid it, and I also avoided that.
Okay.
But I would say that it's not like that you can't have good startup with your friends or siblings or, your husband or wife. There are so many successful companies, like who were founded by brothers or good friends. But it's always about the compatibility between those founders.
Okay.
So I think that is something should be there.
Okay. So cut to Play Selfie is done. You walked away from Play Selfie.
Yes.
How did you meet with Bhuvesh and Ikmeet?
Bhuvan.
Bhuvan, I'm sorry. How did you meet with Bhuvan and Ikmeet? And
So
what is the story? Because I'm always intrigued behind the story about one, how the startup idea came into fruition and how the co-founders actually met with each other.
So both the stories are actually pretty interesting. So
Okay.
when I was a part of an accelerator, so it was an EIR there,
Okay.
right? So we had this opportunity to work together, and we used to discuss ideas and problems. So I knew Ikmeet from that accelerator, and Bhuvan and Ikmeet are MBA batchmates, and
Okay.
also they used to be flatmates in Spain. So when you are with your flatmate and for living with them for 2 years, and you
True.
still want to start a company with them, right? So that shows that you are compatible, right? So that's how we three came together. And Ikmi discussed this idea with me because he
Okay.
got this idea with one conversation with his uncle. So his uncle invested all his money from his retirement fund and lend it into the market.
Okay.
So he was, very curious that why you have invested all of your money into a riskier asset class and lend it in the market. So and then he told him that they get a good return on that. And then he analyzed the market, and then we also studied that unorganized lending is a big, huge in India, and so he got this idea. He's discussed it with me, and uh, because I used to work with startups, so I never got credit card.
Okay.
So even my first credit card is against FD. So first
Which is unfortunately the way the Indian financial system works.
Yes, and because they don't recognize startups, right? So I instantly got connected with the idea, because if I'm not getting the even credit card, so how will I get a loan if I need it sometime?
Very
So
true.
we have seen that the potential is there, and we have studied the market outside and seen that it's a pretty successful model there. And in India, there were no regulation around it. So that's how we three came together and started working on this.
Got it. And you said that Bhuvan and Ekmeet were in MBA college together in Spain?
Yes.
Okay.
So they did their MBA from IE Business School. So
Okay.
they were batchmates and flatmates also.
Okay. Now, Jatin, you don't come from an IIM or an IIT. You don't have that specific tag
Yes.
that a lot of people, at least in India, consider, to be almost like a stamp for a successful founder. Have you found that to be, some sort of hurdle when you're having conversations either with clients or with potential investors, when they say that you didn't go to any of these so-called best colleges in India?
Yes. So actually, that happens a lot. So when I started, when I was thinking about starting up, so I never thought that I'm not from an IIT, so I can make a good business, because I think it is from my family itself. Lots of my uncles have a successful business of their own. One of my uncle, sold their jewelry to get the initial capital for his business, and one of my uncle worked for 8-10 years with different companies to learn the work, and then save capital, and then started his own venture, and now
Sure.
he's a successful businessman in Canada. So I think I have seen that you don't need a degree to run a successful business, right? And I think if you are from an IIT or IIM, it will be easy to get the initial capital, or maybe you will get the initial traction, because
Of
people
course.
listen to you because you have achieved something in your life already. So I think that's it. After that, I think it's all about your execution, it's all about your idea, and it's all about your startup. So I think it's good for getting the initial capital, but I think nobody teaches you entrepreneurship in college. It can't be.
Nobody can.
Yes.
right? I
So
mean,
it is
they
something you
can teach you
learn.
the technicals, but
Yes. So you learn it by yourself.
of course. So what were the some of the initial conversations like between the three of you when you were deciding that, listen, we want to work together, we have an idea. Similar to your first startup, you had also invested some of your own money into the company.
Yes. So my both my co-founders invested their
Okay.
money into the
Okay.
startup because I have already invested all my money into my previous startup. So we were pretty clear about how we gonna work and what our roles will be going forward.
Okay.
So that was the good thing, that we were pretty clear about our roles and responsibilities, and what is the vision going forward. So
Understood.
we believed in that P2P is going to be big in India, and still we our beliefs are same even after 5 years.
Okay. So they typically say that in a startup, you need to have a minimum of three people, and one needs to be a people person, the one person that is doing all the sales. One needs to be a technical person and one needs to be a financial person. Is that the way that you've mapped out your responsibilities, or is there some other way that you've used?
Actually, now you are saying it, so I can relate. So I'm a
Okay.
tech guy. Bhuvan and Ikmeet are business and like people person. So if there is anything related to connecting with VCs and everything, so Bhuvan take those initiative because he is good with that. So
Okay.
yes, actually we never discussed that what we will be doing, because we started working on the things we are good at,
Of course.
and I think that automatically brought us together. So Ikmeet takes care of business and marketing, and Bhuvan takes care of operations and all the legal work, because he is like very patient also, to handle all those conversations with banks and RBI. And
Absolutely.
I take care of product and technology.
Okay.
So
So it's worked out really well.
yes, yes. So I think we are very good as a team, and like uh, uh, Ikmeet is generally very excited about new ideas, and Bhuvan is like very patient and calm, and I also balance all these feelings together.
And you
So
basically tell them what can be done and what cannot be done on the actual website and the app.
actually, that is actually the role of a CTO, right? When your CEO is the think about magic.
Correct.
So CTO is the one who brings logic into that. कि ये हो जाएगा कि नहीं होगा. So I think that is like everywhere.
No, very nice. So tell me a little bit about Lendbox and what exactly, of course, it's gone much beyond a very basic traction level at the moment. But what is I would say, the basic offering that Lendbox has, and what are you doing differently than anything else that's out there?
Okay, so when we started Lendbox in
Hmm.
2015, so there were no guidelines about peer-to-peer lending in India, and it was an unregulated gray area. So investors were also skeptical about it, right? Because
Correct.
when you go to investor and ask them to put money, they'll check the legal thing about it, and it is not regularized, right? Also, VCs were skeptical about putting money because RBIs was evaluating the space. So, but when RBI came up with the first consultation paper about peer-to-peer lending, so it was very good. And within 2 years, RBI came up with the proper guidelines and regulated this space.
Of
And
course.
recently in 2019 December, RBI changed the limit of investment per investor from 10 lakh to 50 lakh.
Hmm.
So that shows huge potential in the market itself, in this particular sector. So I think that is pretty good about the space. And you can think about peer-to-peer lending
Correct.
as e-commerce maybe 10 years back. So 10 years back, people were not confident about purchasing stuff online, right? But now it's a very common thing,
Of
right?
course.
So P2P is like a new asset class, right?
Hmm.
Like mutual funds 10 years back. So now everybody knows about mutual funds, but they don't know about peer-to-peer lending. So 2 3 years down the line, it will be a very common terminology in assets, right? Also, when you want to invest some capital, right? you can't directly go to the investment option where banks, other NBFCs and HNIs do their investment, right? Because of
Correct.
the ticket size, right?
Of course.
But with peer-to-peer lending, you can invest as small as 100 rupees in the same asset class where these HNIs and banks are investing, right?
Interesting.
It's a pretty interesting space. So
I'm
I
sure.
think we are now enabling this asset class for potential investors.
So I have two follow-up questions to that. One is, can you actually identify who you want to invest in, or is it a specific profile, or are you investing in a company
So
when somebody
when
comes to Lendbox?
Yes, so when we started, so it was a pure P2P lending, right? There
Correct.
are borrowers, there are
Mm-hmm.
investors, and any investor can choose in which borrower they want to invest, right? Just like we converted offline model of lending into online model, right?
Got it.
But it also got evolved within last 5 years. So now we have like asset classes. We present it like a asset class. So you can come to our platform. You can choose that in which investment bucket you want to invest these money.
Okay.
So you have this option to choose all the borrowers you want to select if you want to manage your portfolio by yourself. And then we have different investment options like in edutech, in settlement financing. So we combined all these products and give you a one easy to manage product. Like you just come here and invest some money and you have this fixed return and you will be
Okay.
getting it, because investment is, very, you can say, uh, difficult to understand thing for most of the people.
True.
They don't want to get into managing every single thing by themselves. I think that was the reason mutual funds got famous, because then you don't have to manage every single investment in equity,
Absolutely.
right? So similarly, we also have that option now that you just come to us and
Mm-hmm.
do an investment based on your interest and risk appetite, and you
Okay.
will start getting returns from next month onwards. So we have simplified that process of individually investing into different profiles to a single one black box product.
Understood. And would this be classified as alternative investments? Is
Yes,
that
yes,
it would
yes.
be? Okay.
This is alternative investment.
Okay. So Jatin, also talking about your role as a CTO, we have quite a few listeners that are out there that are probably either still in college or graduating from college or in their first startup. What are, let's say, the top two or three qualities that you think is required for a person who aspires to become a CTO of a company?
Uh, I think the first quality, as I also told you, that
Mm-hmm.
when you are CEO, think about magic.
You
You
should
should
be okay to say no.
you should be the
Okay.
one who brings logic into it. So
Okay.
I think the role of CTO is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
You take business ideas and turn them into reality, right?
Okay.
You take good ideas and make good product using technology. So I think that is the first key role any CTO should play. Also,
Okay.
uh, I think that also what I do when my uh, co-founders and my teammates has good ideas, right? And they are
Mm-hmm.
excited about it. They come to me and I say, "Ki tension mat lo, kar denge," and then get it delivered. So I think that is the first role a CTO should play. That if something is there, a business idea is there, you should be able to turn into a product or a solution. Also, my second suggestion would be that I also follow that not only make products, because when you are more focused on making products, you
Mm-hmm.
forget about the use case of that product. So always focus on making solutions that even with the small product you are, even the small feature you are launching, that what problem that is solving. It should solve something in that, right? If you have made a very fancy product and in the end your team is not able to use it, or your
Correct.
end users are not getting it, there is no use of that. And because we love technology so much, so we love everything we code.
And sometimes the more features, the better.
Yes. So I think that is there is a fine line about a product and a working product. So you should always focus on building solution, not just product.
So if I was to summarize for a CTO, the ability to say no, firstly, and secondly, the ability to think like a user.
Yes.
And to be able to make or to convert business ideas into actual physical living and working products.
Yes, because everything starts with an idea, right?
Correct.
And it's in any business, it's not one idea, right?
Of course.
It is a series of small ideas, and then you convert them and you make product around them in different, you can say, segments of your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should have that capability to take that idea and then make something around it which will be a problem solver for your current situation. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to ask you the same question about being an entrepreneur as well, because like you, there are so many aspiring entrepreneurs that are out there that, that's one of the reasons why I do this show as well, because every single CEO and every single founder that I've talked to over the past 2 years has had different perspectives on what it takes to become successful and what it takes to run your own business. So what, according to you, are probably the top 2 or 3 things that somebody should do, and maybe the advice that you hoped that somebody would have given you when you started your first startup?
Okay, so there was a pretty interesting story around it. So when I was in second year of my college, so I had this idea into social services space. So and I could connect it very well. I wanted to do it. I wanted to help others, right? So I went to my school teacher for some advice, and I told him about the ideas, about that idea. So he told me one thing, right? That before helping others, help yourself, and first achieve something in your life, and then people will listen to you. It was specifically for that social idea I discussed with them, and I took it very seriously. So if now I see Bill Gates, right? He has done a lot in the field of, you can say, clean energy, sanitization, global health. So he wouldn't be able to do it if he would have done it 30 years back. And even his contribution would be very less in tech, which is now huge in both the fields, right?
Very true.
I think I took that very seriously. I want to do that, but I want to do it at the right time when the impact will be very good. So that is more about social thing which I wanted to do. But when it comes to a small idea or any idea which you have, I would suggest that start doing it, because until unless you don't do it, you don't get the nitty gritty of that particular idea, right? And idea and execution are 2 different things, and both are equally important for a successful business.
Very true.
So if you have any idea, or if you have that any vision, start working on that straight away, right? So I think that is something I also follow, and I make my yearly plan and a 5-year plan, and always work in that direction, right? Similarly, you should make plan for something or some startup you want to build. You should have a clear picture that what I want to achieve, and start working on that. So that is something I really focus on, that don't just dream about it or think about it, start doing.
And in a startup, like you rightly said, and now this is your second startup, there is always so much to do. You have, especially on your own, or if there's only 1 or 2 co-founders, you've got marketing, you've got accounting, you've got operations, you've got the legal aspect, client servicing, and so on. How do you decide what your priorities are, or how do you decide what to do on a daily basis? Because I see a lot of people getting lost in that entire thing कि इतना सब करना है पर कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है.
Yes, that is the case with startups, and it always will be, because you have limited resources, right?
Correct.
So one thing as an entrepreneur, what you should do, you should explore doing other things as well, right? So that I personally follow, because when I wanted to do a startup in tech, right? So even from my college, I started working with different technology, not just in mobile specific, not just specific to backend or anything. I started exploring every every aspects of that tech part of a company, which will be required if I'll be doing my startup, right? Similarly, I think you should maintain a well written to do for yourself. I think that helps a lot. You should have that vision. So what I
Okay.
personally do,
Sure,
so
please.
on my daily basis, I have these three segments in my to do. One
Okay.
is cold, one is warm, and one is hot. So hot are the things which are most important. I need to get it done. Chahe fir, you are working like whole night, but these are the things I need to done today. And
Got it.
similar thing I do for my 5-year plan and 10-year plan, that these are the things I want to achieve in 5 years, as a personally, as professionally, and I try to divide it in three segments. So that always gives me that the vision, and I always prioritize my things better. So I think you
I think
should.
that's a great suggestion. And do you use any sort of specific app, or do you just go old school and have a diary and a pen?
Actually, I'm very obsessed about tools, specifically
Okay.
productivity tools. So if I get some time, I try to explore new productivity hacks. So I always try to do research about how can I optimize my work better.
Of
So
course.
yes, I have explored mostly all the apps. So in to-do management, I have explored all the apps. So this is like my company. Like in my company, people are sometimes get pissed because I am keep suggesting them new tools, and they're okay with the Google shit. And I said, no, you should go to Slack, and this is something you should put on GitLab. So both of my co-founders always pull my leg uh, uh, when I am suggesting them a new tool. So I think Notion recently, I am working with Notion for all my to-dos and my task management and
Okay.
my content management. So that is a pretty good tool, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Very
And
nice.
also, I moved everything to my Google Calendar. So
Okay.
I merged all, because when you are working with 2-3 things, you definitely have 2-3 Gmail accounts, and then one is your work account, one is your personal account, and you are active on both the accounts. So
Correct.
I merged all those accounts into one Gmail account, and similarly, I have merged all these calendars into one calendar, and then I manage all my tasks and reminder there. And for daily task management, I still use Notebook. So
Okay.
I write down my task for next day before going to bed, and then start working on that.
Very nice. So basically, you found a system that works best for you.
I think I will not say that I have found it, because it is a continuous process, and I because
Maybe that can be another business idea that you can come up with, and that's how most business ideas are formed, right? That I have a problem that I would like to solve, and if nobody else is doing it, why can't I make it?
yeah, so I always try these new products, and like I'm a good target audience for all this. One of the part of target audience for all these new products. So I explored Notion similarly, because they were trying to solve the similar problem that you
Correct.
are juggling with so many tools. So yes, if new tool in the market, I'll definitely try it.
Early adopter, basically.
Yes, early adopter.
So I have two more questions for you, and I would request that if anybody in the audience has any questions, they should possibly type it in the chat box as well. You've been a corporate employee and you've been an entrepreneur as well. So what would you say is the difference in the skill set required for a corporate employee versus somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur?
Uh, I think this is something I look when I hire new people also.
Mm-hmm.
You should have that startup mindset, right? There are some people who are very closed minded. They don't
Correct.
want to learn new things. They are not open to work on new things. They are very specific about that. I want to work on this thing only, and if something is outside my comfort zone, I will not do it.
Of course.
So I always try to look those quality that, you are always open to learn and you're always open to new challenges. So I think that is one of the qualities I always see in other people and I always admire.
Very nice.
So I think apart from this, that you should be ready to work hard if you want to do entrepreneurship. Because I still remember that when we started this company 5 years back, when we used to work till 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, right? And I still remember when we started our first office from like a 2 BHK, and we were going home at 3 a.m. And Bhuvan's birthday was on the same day. So we celebrated his birthday 3 a.m. at some petrol pump. And still, after 5 years, even though both of my co-founders got married during this time, still we work till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. And still we are going to bed and discussing ideas with each other, and even with the same excitement. So I think that is something you should, make yourself prepare, that you need to work hard. Because if there is a requirement, right, you probably sometimes want that, your teammate will take a leave, but if there is a certain requirement and you need to get it delivered today, then you need to get it delivered, right? So,
and nobody can instill that in you. That has to come from within.
Yes. So I feel that is very important, that, you should have that mindset that, yes, I'm ready to work hard for something. So that is why I feel passion is very important when you are, starting something. Because if you are not passionate, you start getting, tired with your working hours or your schedule. But if you are excited and passionate about the problem you are solving, you will have that passion, and that will keep you awake.
Absolutely. Anything that we haven't covered, Jatin? Anything that you'd like to talk about?
I think we have covered up pretty much about the journeys and everything.
Great. So, Jatin, final question: what can we expect from Lendbox in the upcoming years? I'm sure you have a lot of plans, some exciting plans that you can possibly share with us.
I feel that now everybody knows mutual funds like an asset class. So probably we want that in coming 3-4 years, everybody know about P2P lending as an investment class, right? Because because I like it myself, and personally I want to invest in such kind of easy investment options. So that is something we want to take it forward, that people should know about it and people should explore different investment options through it. So
great.
Yes.
So I think that the work that you and Bhuvan and Ekmeet are doing will go a long way in adding the credibility and the trust factor to people as well.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of, especially in India, people are very apprehensive when they hear about new finance schemes and new ways where they can, because they've had bad experiences in the past as well.
It's not
Sure, no, please.
Not just with the people, RBI also.
True.
So RBI is, very selective and, very, you can say restrictive about any new things which you want to try.
Correct.
So it takes time.
But that's changing. We have young entrepreneurs such as yourself, and you're only what, 27?
Yes, I'm 28.
You're 28. You're only 28. So one of the reasons why I like to have a lot of young CEOs and founders on the show is because you can tell us what is happening in the future, and you're not afraid to take on more risk.
Yes, definitely. I think it's a long journey always. So when people started e-commerce, so for next 5, 6, 7 years, nobody was giving value to that. Like they are like,
correct,
how can you purchase stuff online, right? We have to go and see that stuff. How can you purchase vegetables online?
I need to try it out, and what if it doesn't fit?
Yes. So I think when you are changing the habits, it definitely takes time. So yes,
absolutely. And I think we have one question from Nikunj, who is saying that some people started a startup, but after a period of time, they've lost interest because of any reasons. What can they do to maintain the same courage with what they started with? It's the passion that you talked about.
I think yes. So I think when I told you that entrepreneurship is hard. And if you're not passionate enough about your idea, you will get tired very soon, right? You will get tired with the workload you have. So try to find something which, which really connects with you, and you can work on something 24 hours and still not get tired. So you can also relate with it, because you also started your venture. So yes.
And you have to be comfortable with saying no as well, and comfortable with hearing no from other people.
Yes.
Because I think
definitely.
entrepreneurs get rejected more than anybody else, I would imagine.
Yes, I think if you will tell something new, so nobody will accept it because they haven't seen it before. So first reaction would be to reject it, right? Because
Absolutely.
I haven't heard it before. I haven't seen my colleagues are doing it. I haven't seen something in my family. So their first reaction will be always rejection. So I think you should be ready for that.
Very true. And I think one of my favorite sayings is that you need to believe in the vision before you expect anybody else to believe in it.
Yes.
So if you can't see the vision and you don't believe in it, people pick up on that lack of self-belief, unfortunately. So as an entrepreneur, you need to have almost this obsession with the work that you're doing.
Yes, I think that is also very important.
Great. So Jatin, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us on the CEO's chair. It's been a pleasure having you. And
pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wish Lendbox, I wish Ekmeet, Bhuvan, and all of you tremendous success. And I look forward to staying in touch and hopefully catching up the next time that I'm in Delhi.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and take care, Jatin.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching another exciting episode of the CEO's Chair. Look forward to connecting with all of you again next Friday. Take care.